Hi everyone, it's Bren here and welcome to this week's video, which I actually recorded over a few days because I wanted to share with you a couple of recipes using produce that I grow here in our garden. But first of all, let's start off with a Zinnia update. A cheerful bunch of zinnias. They really bring so much colour into the garden during summer. And speaking of colours, I'm very excited to see what ones I'm going to get out in the front garden where I have that new zinnia patch. Here it is, and I've been mothering this area because I really want it to be a success. Since I last showed you this zinnia patch, I did tie up every single plant in here to a cane just to give them a bit more support. Over in this section, I remember I showed you a lot of the plants had flattened. Remember, I wasn't sure whether it was some animal or my kids with their soccer ball, and actually a few of those plants I had to pull out. But thankfully I had some replacements, some backup seedlings that I put in here in their place. I'm hoping they will establish fast, but if not, I mean, the other plants surrounding this section are quite densely planted, and I think they will probably inevitably fill out this space with blooms. Just beside the zinnia patch, I did put in a few more plants over here, which I'll quickly go through, starting off with this one down here, which is a sweet potato plant. And what my plan for this one is to try and encourage it to grow over in this space. And I'm going to remove some of this grass and amend the soil, and hopefully that will work out. And just beside it, I have this black-eyed Susan plant. I also have one growing over near the side gate, which I showed you last week. This one's in flower. I need to make a teepee so I can climb up. I'd much rather it climb upwards than outwards. And then down here there was a sunflower that died. This one here is a Cape gooseberry, and then I have a mixture of eggplants and some capsicums. Actually, I just noticed on this eggplant here it's starting to produce. And then there's also a few varieties of amaranth. So I have the Perfecta, Splendor, this one's been chewed, and there's some more over there beside the Love Lies Bleeding. There's tomatoes everywhere at the moment, and I want to make the most of them. Sometimes the recipes are pretty basic, but they do taste delicious. Here's one I made earlier on during this week. You can't go wrong with a basic tomato sauce that can be preserved and used during the cooler months to give you that much desired taste of summer. So with these, I gave them a wash and left them whole, then seasoned. Placed over a medium heat for about 1 hour and then blended them all up. It really is easy, no fuss cooking. I'm now over by the raised garden bed area. I hope you enjoyed that recipe. We actually had it during the week, served with meatballs, spaghetti and some fresh basil from the garden. You can see that these coneflowers have finished blooming. Their petals are dying off at this stage, But to give them a bit more life, I do like to pick some of them off and remove their petals, just like this, and add them into flower arrangements for interesting structure and texture, like here. I think they go nicely with this tansy and hot biscuit amaranth. I picked the tansy from this plant. They're also called bitter buttons or golden buttons. They are a member of the aster family. It's a herbaceous perennial. It was once used for medicinal purposes, but not so much nowadays. I just grow it here for these pretty little flowers. When it comes to flowers in my garden, I do enjoy growing a lot of varieties which are edible, because they really do brighten up a lot of dishes. For example, here with this salad, these pansy blooms add a really nice splash of colour. Or here on this cupcake, I've placed marigold petals on top of this chocolate icing. And my latest use for edible flowers is to incorporate them into jelly recipes. Here's one that I posted recently on my TikTok account. Let's make these edible flower and pink grapefruit jellies. Firstly, I gathered some homegrown edible flowers from our garden. Then I placed 10 grams of gelatine powder and 150 millilitres of hot water in a bowl, then whisk until dissolved. Next, add 50 millilitres of pink grapefruit cordial and 300 millilitres of cold water, then whisk. In a silicone muffin tray, spray with canola oil. Then in each section, fill a quarter of the way with the jelly mixture. Now place your flowers petal side down. I love this part because you can get really creative with the arrangement of these blooms. Once this is done, place in the fridge for about 30 minutes for the jelly to set. Then pour in the remaining mixture and put back in the fridge for about 3 hours. To get the jelly out in one piece, place in a dish of hot water for about 30 seconds. Use a knife to break the seal. The thin layer of oil from earlier will also help to ease the jelly out of the mold. They turn out so pretty and they taste amazing. I hope you managed to catch all of that. I do tend to speak quite fast when it comes to my TikTok videos. I'm just trying to get as much information into those short clips as I can. What I've shown you here is only a few ways of how to use these edible flowers. Please let me know if you would like to see a few more recipes and I will share them with you. Next up, we're going to head into the fan garden. The entryway is just there to the left of me, but before we go in there, check out how full and lush this area looks. The pathway that was once quite clear has almost been covered up by this pumpkin vine, which is growing everywhere, all over the wattle tree and the perennial basil. I've got no idea what it is because it just self-seeded. It's a bit of a mystery at the moment, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, let's go head in here because there is a new tomato variety to check out. Those of you who saw last week's tomato harvest may remember this particular one. It was still green at the time and now it's completely ripened. It's called Vintage Wine. You can see it has a lovely pinkish red autumn. Leave that other tomato alone, cheeky. Don't go near it. Oh look, she's back again. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's a reddish pink colour and has these lovely golden stripes. Let's cut this one open, and before I do that I need to get this little chuck away from the other tomato before she completely demolishes it, and then we'll go and check and see what it looks like on the inside. Autumn has wandered off somewhere else, I'm not sure where exactly, and I have sliced open this tomato. Do you know what, it almost looks like it's overripe. I have to give it a try first, but I've got a feeling just by the look of it, it is. But you notice how it's quite fleshy. There's not much pulp with seeds in there. This tomato would be really great for slicing up for sandwiches or putting a piece of this on a burger as well. Yeah, let me do a taste test now and I'll fill you in. I think I probably should have picked this tomato maybe a day or two ago because it tastes a little bit overripe. It's kind of a bit mushy and I don't know how to explain it. Would you say flowery? Just has a bit of a funny texture, but still delicious, and it's incredibly sweet. Look who's pecking at it now. Snowflake. I think maybe I should just give that tomato to the chickens. Look how much they've eaten. Oh my goodness. Cheeky little things. That's another reason why I use these bags, to stop the chickens eating all of these lovely delicious tomatoes. Here girls, you can have it now. There you go, Autumn. They're all coming over now to have a piece. What do you reckon? Do you like it? Should I grow it again for next year? I'm standing in the vine patch out in the front garden. There's quite a bit of foliage on numerous plants out here that are covered with powdery mildew. You can see it here on this one. It's like a light dusting of talcum powder. This is a fungal disease which does affect quite a lot of different plants. I am delighted to see that the affected foliage is absolutely covered in these beneficial insects. They are called fungus-eating ladybirds. This is what they look like in their larvae stage. Very different to when they are fully grown. But this little guy now will go around and eat up lots of this powdery mildew, hopefully helping this plant. I'm back over with the edible flowers. I hope you enjoyed this week's garden update. Please don't forget, if you are new to my channel, like this video and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again next Friday.